So I want to share something with you real quick before we jump into the podcast. So lately I've been hearing this more and more from women, and it's something I went through myself. So these women have been working out regularly, they know how to work out, and then they hit their menopausal years and things just aren't working anymore. They're gaining weight, their body composition is changing, and they feel soft because of muscle loss. And it's not necessarily because what they're doing is wrong. It's just that their body has changed and no one ever showed them how they needed to adjust for that. And I remember this too. I hit menopause and my body composition shifted and not in a good way. My legs were squishy even though I was still working out. So I had to change the way that I worked out. And it's because of that that I'm working on a brand new program called the Menopause Muscle Building and Body Recomp. It's specifically for women 40 plus who are already lifting. They want to keep lifting heavy, but they want to learn how to do it for their new menopausal body. And they want to learn how to actually support their body nutritionally through menopause, especially when it comes to eating enough protein, how to recover, and how to change their body composition. I'm starting this as a beta coaching program, which means it'll be a small group, it'll be more hands on, and those women will get early access and beta pricing, which I will finalize everything soon. If that sounds like something you want to hear more about, there's a link in the show notes to join the waitlist. And being on the waitlist doesn't lock you into anything, it just makes sure you get the details first and you have the option to jump in at the beta coaching rate if it feels like a good fit. All right, let's jump into today's episode. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Fit Chicks and Hormone podcast. So today I want to start with something I think about a lot, because seriously, I thought once I got through menopause, everything would go back to normal. I believed that the hot flashes would stop, my sleep would get better, and I'd finally feel like myself again, but I was wrong. And to start, if you don't know my whole entire perimenopausal story, you can go back to episode 80 and listen, but here's the short version. So I headed into my 40s and completely fell apart. I was sick all the time. I was not sleeping. I had burnt out adrenals. I was exhausted. My emotions were all over the place. And come to find out that we were living in a moldy home. So it took years to heal my body from that. And it affected my hormones more than you could ever imagine. And that was when I was starting perimenopause. So that just threw my whole body into a tailspin of all kinds of craziness. And it was from there that I had no choice but to focus on changing my lifestyle, right? Because if I didn't, I was going to continue to suffer and not feel good. So I had to, eat less sugar, drink less alcohol, eat less junk food. Because I became so sensitive to so many things, it was really hard to actually even find foods that I could eat without having some sort of reaction. I also had to stop running, which at the time I actually kind of liked doing. I was doing a lot of running. I was running almost every single day. I was running in 5K races, doing all these things. My husband and I trained for a 10K. But it was only making my adrenals and my cortisol issues worse. And it was through my own experience that I completely changed not only how I approach my own health, but it's become one of the most important messages that I like to share with women that I work with. Because right now, so many of us are just trying to survive menopause, right? We're white knuckling it through, just trying to get through this phase because we feel like once we get to the other side, everything's going to be better. But here's the thing nobody talks about. What happens next? What does it look like on the other side? So that's what I'm going to talk about because that's where I am presently at. I am postmenopausal, have been for 5 years now. I had my last period when I was 47. And then actually, heading into 47 and then, so 48, no longer have a cycle. And so I'm going to talk about that, okay? Because it's not all peachy keen that everybody leads you to think. So I want to talk to you about really what's happening in your body during this phase, and most importantly, why taking care of it isn't about just trying to get through menopause. It's about figuring out how you can thrive for the next 30, 40, or even 50 years of your life, depending on where you're at and when you hit postmenopause. So let's get started. So back to perimenopause just quickly here. At the time, I really didn't even know what perimenopause was, right? Nobody had taught me. I didn't learn about it. I didn't know anything about it. I only knew what menopause was. And the same thing as other women. I just knew that once I get to menopause, I no longer have a period. And then everything's going to be wonderful. And it sounded fabulous, right? And other women were telling me, because I've been working with women for 17 plus years, they were saying, oh, once you get past menopause, it is so much better. But it was nothing like they told me that it was going to be. It was nothing that I thought was going to be. So I ended up hitting menopause, going into postmenopause. I gained 12 pounds. I was still having really bad hot flashes and night sweats. I wasn't sleeping. I couldn't eat a carbohydrate without gaining 5 pounds. I had horrible brain fog. I was forgetting things all the time. My moods were all over the place. And I felt like I just went backwards. But I didn't have to buy any tampons because I no longer had a cycle. I guess that was the one positive thing that I felt at that time, right? So it was then that I decided that I wanted to educate myself on what was really happening. Because this was not the life that I wanted to live the next 30 to 40 years. And again, that's when I had to change my lifestyle even more than I did before. But when I did, all the things that I just mentioned, they shifted, and for the better. And that's what I want to talk about today, because I don't want you to wait until you have your own wake-up call and you have to go through this yourself. Sorry, I'm still kind of recovering from this cold that I've had since after Christmas, so just bear with me. Hopefully it's gonna be okay. And I don't do any edits in my videos, so you're gonna get the coughing fits if I have them. Okay, so let's start with what is really happening and why maybe we think that menopause is the hard part and that everything's gonna be easier. I think it's because we've been taught to see that menopause at this time, it's just an event. You know, you stop getting your period, your hot flashes go away, and then you're just done. You're on the other side. Brand new life. But here's what nobody else tells you, nobody educates us about, right? Menopause is not, it's one day, yes. One day when you don't have a period any longer, but it's also a transition into a completely new hormonal reality that's going to last for the rest of your life. Okay? So again, as I mentioned, 12 months without a period, then you are postmenopausal. That's menopause, one day, and then you are postmenopausal. From that point forward, you're living in a body that has lower levels of estrogen, progesterone, lower than when you were going into puberty. And this isn't temporary. This is your new normal. So for the next however many years, you are alive. And during those years, there's a lot of things that are happening in your body. So I want to do a bit of education because I think that it's always helpful for women to know, and this is something I don't like to tell people what they do. I like to educate you, because when you know why something is happening, it's easier to put things into action. It's easier to it clicks, and you're like, okay, now it makes sense. Now I know what I should do, or now I want to know what I should do, right? So I'm going to break down what's really going on when you have that postmenopausal body, when our hormones are almost gone, as where I'm at right now. So first, let's talk about your bones. So estrogen plays a massive role in bone density, and without it, bone loss accelerates dramatically. In the first 5 to 10 years after menopause, women can lose up to 20% of their bone density. That's a lot. This is when osteoporosis becomes prevalent, and with it, you can have the risk of fractures that can genuinely impact your quality of life and your independence as you age. This is when we don't want to be falling down, breaking anything, right? Because this is happening. Second, your heart. So before menopause, estrogen helped with significant cardiovascular protection. It helps to protect your heart. But after menopause, your risk of heart disease increases substantially, so much, in fact, that heart disease becomes the #1 health risk for postmenopausal women. More than breast cancer, more than any other health condition. And we're talking about blood pressure changes, cholesterol changes, and increased inflammation in the cardiovascular system. So many things are happening because of those dropping hormones that we have to stop and pay attention before you go into the doctor's office and they're like, oh, we need to put you on cholesterol medications. Oh, you have a heart problem. You have a heart murmur. Let's build up, and we need to protect our bodies sooner than taking action when something is already happening, right? So third, your metabolism. Those metabolic changes you were experiencing in perimenopause, they don't stop. Your body becomes even more insulin resistant. Your metabolism slows down, which makes it harder to lose weight or even maintaining your weight, right? And the things that worked before, they're not working anymore, okay? Your metabolism is different now. And then fourth, your muscle mass. I've talked about this one a lot. This is something that has been really important to me as I've moved into my 50s and been postmenopausal, because I saw the shift. I lost so much muscle when I went from menopause to postmenopausal in the first couple years, because I was always lifting weights, but not really focusing on heavy lifting. And I could feel my body got squishy. I lost my butt. I lost muscle everywhere. So I've really had to work hard. And here's the thing. It is a lot harder when you're postmenopausal to build that muscle than it would have been if I would have been doing this in my early 40s or even late 30s. Okay. So we naturally lose muscle as we age, and that's called sarcopenia. Maybe you've heard of this, maybe not. But this process accelerates even faster after menopause. And muscle isn't just about how you look. It's about your metabolic health, your bone health, your balance, your independence, your longevity. Like, muscle is more important than you may think. So if you're just doing cardio, it's time to start adding some lifting weights. And then there's inflammation, cognitive changes. So brain function is changing, your skin's changing, vaginal, urinary health. The list could go on and on and on, and I could talk about this forever. All the things that are happening when you no longer have a period. But you're like, hey, I don't have to buy any tampons, right? And I'm not saying all these things to scare you. I'm sharing this because knowledge is power. When you understand what's happening, you can do something about it, right? If you don't know, like I did not know, I didn't know what to do until I did the research, until I dug in and figured it out. So now that I can tell you what you should do. And that's the empowering part. When you know that there's something you can do and you take action. And the truth is, the first 5 to 10 years after menopause are the most important time for preventing any of these things. The choices you make during this window in those first 5 to 10 years have a compounding effect on your health for decades to come. Now, this isn't to say that if you're past 5 to 10 years of menopause, you can't make a change, you can't shift things, because you can 100%. You just have to do it today and stop putting it off, okay? So now I want to talk about timing, because this is probably the most important part. Because I find that so many of us are waiting too long. And then it takes our bodies that much longer to thrive again. Like I said, for myself, I have been working so hard to build muscle for the past 2 years. So hard to see just a little bit of muscle growth. But it's worth it for me because I need to do that, right? Had I done it earlier, it wouldn't be so hard. I have a client that's in her early 40s. She just started working out within the last couple years. Her body, her muscle, she has built muscle like in an incredible speed because she's doing it early and she's lifting heavy and she's feeding her body the way she needs to. So it can happen. It's not about the muscle, it's about all the things, but that's something really important, right? So when should you start focusing on this? Well, the best time to start doing it was yesterday, was before, in your late 30s, in your late 30s. But if that is not where you're at, then the second best time is to start right now. If you're still in perimenopause or early menopause, you have a great opportunity. You can build bone density while you still have some estrogen working in your favor. You can establish and build that muscle mass that serves as a foundation for what you need to continue building, right? You can create good, sustainable nutrition and healthy lifestyle habits and movement habits before all these hormonal shifts start to change. And you can get your baseline markers like your bone density scans, cardiovascular health, metabolic panels. You can get baseline markers so you know where you're starting from. So I want you to think of it like this. Everything you do right now compounds. So every time you lift weights, it's an investment in your future bone health. Every habit you establish now is one you won't have to build from scratch later when things are that much harder. I'm going to keep saying this and not to scare you because it does. It gets so much harder. If I work out with girls that are 15 younger than me and 10 years younger than me, and I'm just like, you got to pay attention to what I'm telling you, ladies, because it gets harder. But that doesn't make me stop. Working out with them makes me want to work out harder, so that's a good thing. If you're already postmenopausal for a couple years and you haven't been focusing on these things, you really need to understand that you're no longer just building foundations. You're also maintaining and protecting what you have. Keeping what you already have instead of continuing to lose it. If I would have known I was going to lose so much so quickly, I would have done things differently. So you can't build bone density as easily, but you can absolutely slow down the bone loss. You can still build muscle. You can. You got to eat enough protein and you got to lift heavy. You can still improve your metabolic health. You can still reduce your cardiovascular risk. You can do that. I'm not here to say that it's never gonna happen. It's gonna happen. You just need to start today, and it may be just a little bit harder. As long as you don't give up, you're gonna make changes. But doing nothing is not helping. If you're not actively working to support your body postmenopausally, you're moving backward. I'm going to say that again. If you're not actively working to support your body postmenopausally, you're moving backward. Okay? That doesn't mean you wait till you're postmenopausal. That means right now, where you're at, no matter how old you are, you're starting today. Because bone density doesn't stay stable. It continues to decline. Muscle mass doesn't maintain itself. It atrophies. Your metabolic health doesn't plateau. It deteriorates. But the good news is your body is incredibly responsive, even now. I see it with my clients all the time. Women that are in their 50s, 60s, 70s taking action, who are implementing these strategies and seeing real measurable improvements in their strength, their energy, their confidence, their health markers. I have 70-year-old women who are doing my bootcamp classes who are lifting heavy weights. They are lifting so much heavier than they were 10 years ago when they started with me. So you can do it, okay? So whether you're planning on catching up or you're trying to get ahead, the message is the same. Start now. Start where you are. Start right now. Take action today. Stop putting it off. Stop saying, "I'll wait." Stop thinking you have time, because you don't. Don't wait for the doctors to say, "Oh, you're pre-diabetic. Oh, you have heart disease. Oh, we need to put you on cholesterol medication. Oh, you see somebody in your family die from a heart attack." Don't wait until it's too late to be scared into doing it. Take action now for your health. I get a little fired up about this because, and I'm the same way with my parents. I'm like, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this. I want you doing these things to take care of yourself because I want them to live a long, healthy life as much as I want it for myself as well. And our kids and our grandkids, right? So, okay, take a deep breath. Now let's focus on let's talk about some things you need to focus on, right? So I'm going to walk you through what I consider the non-negotiables for lifelong health in your postmenopausal years. And again, even if you are not postmenopausal, that doesn't mean you can't do these things, because the time to start is before you get there. I want to keep saying that so you hear that. You have to start before your last cycle, if possible. If not, then you start today. So the number one thing is bone health. That's what we need right now. You need to put most of your attention to that. Not next year, not when you have the time. So what's going to help with bone health? Resistance training, strength training, weight-bearing exercise, lifting the heavy weights, picking up heavy things, whatever you want to call it. You need to be putting your bones under load. This is what signals your body to maintain and even build bone density. Walking is great for many reasons, but it's not enough for your bones. Walking is great for stress care and management and just movement for your body, but it's not going to help build your bones. Neither is cardio. Okay, it has to be lifting and putting load on your body. You need to lift those weights. You need to, if you don't have weights, start doing body weight exercise. There are so many things that you can do to start today. Okay, do movements that challenge your skeletal muscle. Okay, and from a nutrition standpoint, you need to make sure you're getting calcium, which excuse me, taking vitamin D with K12 or K2. Let me start over. You need to be making sure you get enough calcium. So whether you're getting that through fruits and vegetables, whether you're getting it through whatever, if you're taking a supplement, just know that it could constipate you. But if you're working on building muscle and you're lifting heavy, you probably don't need a calcium supplement. Vitamin D with K2. You need to be taking that vitamin D with K2. Magnesium as well. But remember, you can't supplement your way out of a sedentary lifestyle and trying to get bone support. It's not going to work. The nutrients support the process, but the stimulus, the actual stress on the bones, comes from the movement. Okay? If you haven't had a DEXA scan to measure your bone density, that's something to discuss with your doctor, your healthcare provider, especially if you're in your first few years of postmenopause, or you have risk factors of osteoporosis. So if you can, get a DEXA scan. So that's number one, bone health. Bone health, number one, lift the weights, get strong. Number two is heart health. Heart disease is the number one killer of postmenopausal women. Yes, did you hear that? Heart disease is the number one killer of postmenopausal women. This is not something that you can ignore. If this is something that is in your family, you need to take action today. You need to know your numbers. You need to know your blood pressure, your cholesterol levels, specifically your LDL, your HDL, your triglycerides, and markers of inflammation like C-reactive protein. These aren't just numbers on a lab report. They're telling a story about your cardiovascular health, and they are super important. You need to do movement that gets your heart rate up, essentially. This doesn't mean you need to go running. It means regular cardio activity. So you can do some walking. You can do some HIIT walking. So you walk fast, you walk slow. You can do biking. You can do swimming. You can dance. Whatever elevates your heart rate. We do HIIT workouts. So it's like bring your heart rate up and then bring it back down, right? Something that you can do at least 3 to 4 times a week. Again, it could be something as simple as going for a walk, walking fast, walking slow. Nutrition is so important right here too. So important for that heart health. Make sure you're getting enough omega-3 fatty acids. If you aren't getting them in your food, take a supplement. I take a supplement. Make sure you're getting enough fiber. So lots of vegetables, and starches have fiber in as well. Those carbohydrates that you're probably avoiding because you think it's making you fat. Vegetables. I know I just said it, but eat lots of vegetables. Getting rid of the processed food or minimizing it. Nothing in a box. If you don't know what it is, don't eat it. Getting rid of excess sugar. These are going to protect your cardiovascular health, okay? And remember that the impact of stress on your heart also comes from chronic stress and poor sleep. These are also affecting your cardiovascular. Okay, and these are things that I talk with my clients and I talk about all the time. Managing your stress and getting good sleep. So let's talk about these a little bit. So if you're not focusing on getting good sleep, so I know some people that stay up late and they don't get to bed in time, or they're up on their phone reading and then they can't sleep. You have to prioritize your sleep. That is the number one thing I prioritize. It's not even my nutrition. I am so adamant about getting my sleep every single night. I can't even tell you. It is that important to me. Maybe it comes from only being in a place where I was getting 3 to 4 hours of sleep for almost a year. And I'm just like, never going back there. And then stress care, stress management. You can't be chronically stressed and think that your health is going to be good. It's going to cause so many issues. So manage your stress. That's what walking's for. That's what breathing's for. That's what laughing's for. That's what dancing's for. Do something that brings you joy and brings that stress down, okay? Otherwise, you're going to have health issues because of it. So let's talk about metabolic health and weight management. So this is where you're trying things that worked in your 30s, but they're not working anymore, right? It's because your metabolic needs have changed. Your body right now is processing carbohydrates differently. That doesn't mean you can't eat them. It means you need to make sure you're eating them in the right way, in the right amounts. Your insulin sensitivity has shifted, and probably the biggest change, your protein requirements. You need so much more protein, so much more. Many women are only eating 60 to 70 grams of protein. I feel that you need at least 100 grams minimum. You should do about, I think about 1 gram per pound of body weight, especially in your menopausal and postmenopausal years. I think that's where you need to be. I eat around 150 to 170 grams of protein every single day. And it's not that hard. It's not as hard as people make it believe. And I don't do dairy, because a lot of people think, well, I can only do it with dairy. I don't do any dairy, and I can still get my protein out, okay? Postmenopausally, you need more protein than you did in your younger years, because protein is essential for maintaining muscle mass, and muscle mass is essential for metabolic health, for bone health, for balance, for independence, everything. And like I said, I think you should be getting a minimum of 100 grams. So if you try to get about 25 to 30 grams of protein at every single meal, 3 to 4 meals, you should be good. Okay, so if you're not tracking your protein, do that. Blood sugar management becomes absolutely critical right now. When your blood sugar is off, dysregulated, it affects everything. It affects your weight, affects your energy, affects your sleep, your inflammation, your cardiovascular, your health, your moods. So you need to make sure that you're not eating a lot of sugar and you're balancing your carbohydrates with your protein. Here's where I said, you're not giving up the carbohydrates, because you can have them. You just have to make sure that you're pairing them with protein and some fiber. That's going to help manage that blood sugar, okay? And this is something that I myself have really focused on over the past few years, is that strength training. Lifting heavy, because strength training isn't just for your bones. It's one of the most powerful tools for metabolic health. Muscle is metabolically active tissue. The more muscle that you have, the better your metabolic function, which means it's easier to burn body fat and keep the body fat off. Okay? Lift the weights, keep the body fat off. And I'm going to talk just a little bit about hormone replacement, because that's where a lot of us are going, right? And this is out there now. A lot of people are talking about it. I myself am on hormone replacement, because it can really be a valuable tool for you. It can help to protect bone density, because again, your hormones are dropping. So by putting those natural hormones back into your body, not synthetic, natural hormones back into your body, it can protect your bone health, it can support cardiovascular health, it can improve metabolic function, and address quality of life symptoms. I will take these as long as I am able to, because I want my quality of life to be what it should. If you think about it, 100 years ago, women didn't live to be past, I was listening to yesterday, I think it was like 40, 45, because that's when most women were stopping, they couldn't have babies anymore, so there was no reason for them to be alive, so they would die. That's sad, but that's how it is. We're living another we're living 40, 50 more years beyond that. Do you want to live in a lifestyle where you have no quality of life? No, that's why all these lifestyle pieces are important, but this is, again, where HRT can have its place as well. It may not be for everyone. It's a decision you need to make based on your individual health history. But if it's something if you're curious about it, have a conversation with somebody. Ask me. I've used it for years now. I know somebody that's local, so if you're here and you want to have a conversation with somebody, she's amazing. She does amazing hormone therapy for women, and she listens so much, which I love about her. But whether or not you choose HRT, The lifestyle factors are the most important and should be 100% of any part of HRT protocol. So that means that you need to manage your stress. You need to manage your stress to balance your cortisol levels, to keep them down. Because chronic stress can cause craziness with hormonal balance and overall health. And you need to support your body with the nutrition, eating the right foods, getting rid of the sugar, getting rid of the crap, getting enough sleep, moving your body, building the muscle, right? These all make a difference to your remaining hormones and your overall well-being as well. So you have to make sure it's not just HRT you're relying on, you have to do the lifestyle pieces too. So before I talk about anything else, I want to talk about the foundations that everything else is built on, because you can't do all the right things. Let me say that again. Because you can do all the right things, but if these things aren't in place, you're not going to make the progress that you need. This is where I'm going to talk about the sleep. Sleep is when your body repairs, when your hormones regulate, when your brain detoxifies. Poor sleep is linked to weight gain, increased inflammation, cardiovascular disease, cognitive decline, you name it. Prioritizing sleep quality is non-negotiable. That's what it is for me, as it should be for you. Your health depends on it. Your life depends on it. If it's said like that, does it make you prioritize your sleep? I hope so. Stress management. Again, chronic stress keeps your cortisol elevated, which affects everything from your weight, your immune system, your bone density. You need practices that genuinely help to regulate your nervous system. Whether it's meditation, whether it's walking, whether it's time in nature, whether it's breath work, whatever works for you, you have to do it. You can't just say, oh my God, I'm stressed all the time. Figure out some way to balance that out, okay? And then community and connection. Right now, it's so hard. I remember going through all this stuff alone, not having anybody to talk to about it except for my husband, and he's a man. He didn't understand. And I felt like, how do I not know this stuff? Why is nobody telling me this stuff? Why am I the only one suffering? Because we as women, we don't go out in the world and start going, oh my gosh, have you had the worst hot flashes lately? Me too. Like, we don't have those conversations, except for now we do in my Fit Chick studio, because I've started the conversation. Now I have women coming up to me talking to it about it all the time. It's like menopause, hormones, hot flashes. It's being talked about all the time because I've made it okay to talk about, right? So, and it gets harder when we're struggling through this alone. So we need connection. We need relationships. We need these things. These are the foundations for health and longevity. So if you're not in somewhere where you can feel heard and talk about what's going on, make sure you join my free Fit Chicks and Hormones community on Facebook. The link is in the show notes to join. I would love to see you there. It's a safe place. You can say whatever you want. I talk about my struggles in there, but I also share this education piece so that you can start to feel better in your body, okay? All right, so just to finish this off strong, I want you to think about it like this. Postmenopause is not the end of something. It's not about loss. It's not about decline or giving up. It's a new chapter in your life, potentially the longest chapter of your life. And it deserves your attention, your intention, and your care. You need to take care of that postmenopausal body. And yes, your body is different now. And yes, things have changed, but you're not powerless. You're not too late. You're not alone. We are all going through this, and you can take action today and do something about it. The choices you make today matter so much. The choices you make today are going to compound over time. They add up. Every time you choose going to do that workout instead of sitting on the couch, every time you prioritize making sure you're getting protein over eating those carbohydrates, every time you lift something heavier, you prioritize your sleep, you are investing in your future self. You're investing in your independence, your vitality, your strength, your longevity. I love those words. I love independence, vitality, strength, and longevity. Those things make me happy. That is what I'm living for those things. Your body has been through so much. It has carried you this far. It deserves for you to show up and support it right now, to give it what it actually needs, okay? So here's what I want you to do. Pick one thing that we talked about today, and maybe it's, okay, I've been meaning to lift weights, but I haven't done it yet. Or Okay, I know I hear all the protein talk. I'm going to really start tracking my protein and see where I'm at. Or maybe it's just having a conversation with somebody else about hormones or what's going on with you, right? Just pick one thing. Start there because you don't want to just survive postmenopause. You want to thrive, and you get to thrive. You get to feel strong. You get to feel confident in your body. You get to live a life of strength and confidence and all the things, healthy, right? That's what we want. We all want that. And if you're like, I don't even know what to do, I'm overwhelmed, I sit in my car and I cry because I just feel like I'm gonna have to live this way forever and it's really hard and I don't know what to do, reach out to me. Let's just have a conversation. I'm not even gonna sell you anything. I'm not gonna pitch anything. I just want to have a conversation because I want you to feel like you're not alone. And maybe I can give you a plan. I can tell you to go talk to somebody. Maybe I have some action steps for you. Whatever it is, let's just start a conversation because you don't deserve and you don't need to feel like you have to struggle through this alone. I want to help you set yourself up for success to live a long, healthy life. Okay, I made it. I'm gonna go drink lots of water. Thank you for bearing with me through this all. I appreciate you so much. And if this conversation resonated with you, please share it with other women. You can share it on social media, tag your friends in it, whatever, send it to them. We all deserve to know the truth about what's coming and how to prepare for it because it ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It certainly is not. But when you take action, you know what you need to do, it can be better. Because again, I feel pretty darn good at 53, almost 54, because I've learned to listen to what my body needs right now, and that's what I want for you too. So thanks again. Have a great rest of your day. I hope this episode today resonated with you, and if it did, I would love for you to share it on your stories and tag me on Instagram or Facebook. A review would be appreciated too. Your reviews and shares not only help us to grow, but they give other women who are struggling through their menopausal years hope that they don't have to continue living the way that they do. Your questions and experiences are also so helpful in giving me subjects to talk about, so feel free to reach out to me anytime on Facebook or Instagram with anything. I would love to help.